So go ahead and bring up QuickBooks if you haven't done so already. So far, we've been using the same 5 items to buy and sell. So you can add more items. I told you you could do that on your own, but let's go ahead and do it together. We're going to take a shortcut. So if you go to Get Paid and Pay, we usually start off. See Products and Services. And the way we did it before was starting off with New up here. And you could certainly do that. But you saw which items you were selling the other day. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one and we're going to add it and make a deluxe version of it. So it can be anything. So I'll start with my fountain pen. So I could do new, start from scratch, or if an item is similar to one you already have, we have this little shortcut. Like under Edit, you're going to see Duplicate. So click on Duplicate. And it's going to automatically call it whatever your product is, Copy. All right. So I'm going to call mine Fountain Pen Super Deluxe. But you can call it anything you want. The only thing you cannot call it is, in my case, Fountain Pen. It cannot be the same name because that's how QuickBooks identifies and keeps them separate. Yeah, Get Paid and Pay. Then Products and Services here on the left-hand side. Okay, and then on the right-hand side, after you pick which one you want to duplicate, under Edit, you'll see there's that Duplicate. And it just saves you from having to key in a lot of the main stuff over again. So since I'm going to say this is very similar to my fountain pen, I'll just call it Super Deluxe or whatever. Deluxe. Yeah, we could charge more, right? Or it could be, let's say, right now I've been selling fountain pens. When I buy them, I've been buying them in a bundle, and I have all different colors. But I've noticed, like I'm selling a lot of blue, and the others not so much. So now I go back to my supplier and say, hey, could you just send me blue? Yes. Okay, I want to track the blue separately. I'm going to start tracking the color separately. So I could do Super Deluxe, I'm not Super Deluxe, Fountain Pen Blue, like that. So this is really handy if you're selling clothes, because as I think I mentioned when we started, if you're doing that and you want to track each type, color, and size separately, you have to do an item here, a product, for each one. Meaning, let's say you have women's blouse large, women's blouse small, women's blouse extra small. And then in those, women's blouse extra small yellow, women's blouse extra small blue, whatever it is that you want to track. So it really depends on how you're ordering them and how you're selling them. There are times, like I said with my fountain pens, I really didn't have a choice of colors. I could, but I'd probably pay more, right? So I just took an assortment of colors, and whatever they came That's what I sold. And I really didn't track them. But now, see, I'm noticing how many I'm selling. The thing with this is I couldn't notice by QuickBooks. QuickBooks has not differentiated by colors because there's only one item. So now I'm saying, well, but just, by how many pins I have left over at the end of the month, they're all the colors but blue. I think I should just focus on blue for a while. And so I might want to keep them all because I've already ordered them. They're sitting there in the bin, but now I'm going to have a new bin with blue, or in my case, because I'm going to say super deluxe and I'm going to raise the price. Okay. So again, it'll ask us how many do we have on hand. I'm going to say I haven't ordered any yet. So I'll leave that as 0. So I'm going to type in 0 and as of today's date. In the advanced class, we go into reorder points. But again,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Quantity on hand, mine has already, it says 24.
Did you do duplicate or edit?
Okay, where,
But so when you're here, here's edit. You use the drop-down list on edit, and then you have to go down to duplicate.
edit, but,
Don't click on the word edit. Click on the little triangle
oh. that's what-
to see duplicate, because you were changing the original.
I wonder-
So duplicate. Then give it a new name. And it could be fountain pen 2 if you want to call it that, or whatever yours is. So then the quantity on hand is 0 as of today's date.
Is that another one?
No, I had to go back just to walk her through it.
Oh,
So I'm still there. I just had to get back to this point. So the reorder point is a point at which it gets low. It sends you a warning. So we'll cover that if you take the advanced class. Those are kind of fun. Because like I'm saying, you get a lot of information about your inventory. It tells you a lot about your customers, what's popular, what's selling, what's not, when it's selling, and all kinds of things like that. It's going to default to the inventory asset account again. So here's the description again that the customer sees. So I'm just going to change it. I don't have to actually change this, but what will happen is if somebody orders a fountain pen and a super deluxe, it'll have the same description. So since I'm charging more, might as well have a couple extra words. Right? And if you're into sales, throw in lots of adjectives. Okay, so this is going to be 10. I'm going to sell it for $10 more. So I'm going to change my $17.95 price to $27.95. But you can do whatever you want. And it doesn't have to be like if I did blue, maybe I don't want to change the price. Or maybe because I notice my customers like blue, I do. I'll add $2 more to it or something because I know I can get it. Remember, customers aren't friends, they're customers. And if you can get $2 out of them and they're happy about it, then do it. So when I order it, say this is a different one. So I'm going to say this is model XB124 or something. So again, this is just for my vendors. So the vendors will get the right thing. And I'm calling it whatever the vendors call it. So I'll change the name a bit on the model. And our cost, my cost is going to be $6, or you can leave it the same. But see what it did? It took all the information we had before and duplicates it. And it saves you a little bit. And then save and close. And we'll leave preferred vendor off. QuickBooks made me mad again.
Did you
I
put a preferred?
no, it's not worth the trouble. Whatever you want it to, there's 2 descriptions, one for the customer and one for the vendor. So if I click here. So last night, I did my thing while I was still thinking about it.
I'm sorry, the information purchasing.
Yeah, so down here, my customer description, I said super deluxe. And then I did change it because I'm saying this is a different item. So I changed the model number from 123 to 124, just so the vendor knows I'm going with this little extra. Okay, and then I did change my cost because it is something more. So I did go through the preferred vendors. I went through the help. I went through everything. It said to do exactly what we're doing, and it's supposed to work. So I have to jump on the boards and see either I'm missing something or they're wrong. I did send QuickBooks a little note because what it says to do, save and close. Yeah. What it says to do is under action. Oh, first of all, you select it, then under action, where edit says edit, it is supposed to be right here, and that's where I remember it. But where it says create invoice from here. So it doesn't, so I'll let you know in the advanced class what their answer is. Anyway, so back to what we're doing. You'll notice this automatically becomes taxable because when we started, we didn't have the sales tax on, but now we do. So unless we tell it otherwise, everything's defaulting to taxable. So my super deluxe plan is taxable. I do have 0 on hand because I haven't ordered any. And there we go. So I could do that for all of these. You can also just do it from scratch. Just kind of depends what you find easier, but it is handy to duplicate it, especially if you did put some thought into like the descriptions and you know, like, so like on Etsy, there's little buttons, and rather than type that whole thing again or copy and paste, just duplicate it and then change what you need to change. The only thing is people get excited about that. Oh, great. I don't know, type all that in again. They don't read it carefully. And if there's details about the first item that don't apply to the second item, you got to kind of edit your descriptions and make sure. Otherwise, you'll find it 3 weeks later and feel silly because that doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay, so we were supposed to, well, I was supposed to change because I noticed I did a Wi-Fi thermostat.
Okay.
So my cost for the vendor is 40, but for the customer it's 250. I should have changed the 40 because that was for the regular thermostat.
Yeah, that's okay. Just go to edit.
Edit.
So the item, you can always edit. You can always change your prices. And here's the sales price. And if you need to change your cost, it's down here next to the expense account. I saw, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so if I want to add sales tax, because it looks like I didn't do it, I only did it for that last one. It showed up taxable, but it didn't. That one's taxable, but everything else that I have is not.
Okay.
So it's not showing up. So if I go to edit product,
Yeah. So
will I be able to add the tax gap?
yes. So I have one I didn't change. See my original fountain pen? Yeah. So that was the first one I didn't do it. So it doesn't say taxable. I'm going to do it now. Okay, so I'm going to click on edit. I don't have to do anything except that and save and close. If you want, I mean, you can click on the edit sales tax. But because I set this up before we had sales tax, it didn't know. But now that I'm saying everything's taxable, all I have to do is save and close. Yeah, well, no, just the one. And I'm going to hit refresh. And just by doing that, it'll update it. So I was in the store, and you know how now they have on the racks the prices of things. It's not all stickers on all the products like they used to. So I noticed they were putting new stickers on, or she was putting new stickers on all of them. So I went through, I thought, I'm going to watch. And sure enough, every single one was a higher price. I understand, you know, their prices go up too, so they got to pass it on. But I was waiting. I thought, I'm just going to see if anything goes down. But nope. Yeah. And then I was thinking, I should really follow her. And if there's anything I want to buy, grab it quick and take a picture of the price. And then say, hey, that's not the price that's on the rack. Try to beat her to it. No, I didn't do it. Well, it wasn't that much. And, you know, well, I guess if it were eggs, I could have done that. But anything else, I think it was like in the cat food section or something.
But they do have to honor it if the price is still out there. They haven't changed it yet. You take a picture and you take it up there when you're going to pay for it. And if they say, oh, no, it's this, no, I've done it.
Yeah.
They do honor it.
Yep.
And then they go and switch everything.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would just have been jumping ahead of her, knowing, you know, in my head, it's not really honest, knowing she was going to raise the price. And they probably already have it in the system before she goes out there. But you're right. Most of them will do that. And one of the things is you do want to have happy customers. As a general rule, it takes like 3 times as much money in advertising to get a new customer as it is to save an old customer. So like in that case, it's probably 50 cents or something, right? So yeah, 50 cents and I keep Dan as a happy customer. He thinks he's done something great. He'll tell everybody else and they'll come shop at my store thinking, hey, this is a good store, right? So you get positive buzz and it's free advertising. Well, not free, but it costs you 50 cents for advertising. Whereas if I don't get my way and we start an argument, everybody in my family is going to hear about it because I got to tell the story over and over again. And then I see the kids on the weekend. What happened? Oh, let me tell you what happened. So then now you got the bad buzz out there. And now what people do is they go online and they go on their blogs and chat and boy, that person's so dumb and all the bad advertising that goes along with that. When I used to play volleyball with some friends on Fridays, and one of our friends brought her little daughter, and we go to Jack in the Box afterwards and talk about how great the game was. But the daughter was there, and she just walked up to the clerk, and she was cute. Kids are so cute. She just says, "There, that the big gumball machine that rolls in the circle." She says, "Can I get a gumball?" And the lady says, "Do you have a quarter?" She says, "No." "Okay, here." So she pulls out a quarter and gives it to her. Yeah, so she does it, and then later on, she went up and said, "Can I get some French fries?" She says, "Are you paying for it?" "I don't have any money." "Oh, okay. Well, here, just take this one." And so she gave her the fries. So I thought that was pretty cool. So they have this sign that says, complaints, comments, give us a call. So I did. And I didn't tell them she's giving away free French fries, but I just said she made us feel really welcome. The little girl thought it was great and great interaction. So, just wanted to say kudos to a good employee. And the person on the other end of the line said, "Okay, what's your address?" I said, "Why do you need my address?" "Oh, we want to send you a coupon for a free hamburger." So they did, because usually it's a complaint, right? And so they know it'll cost us a free hamburger, but now the person's happy again. So happy customer. So they did, sure enough. And then I thought, I'm going to call every week and tell them how good they are. So anyway, you do want to keep your customers happy. So now we have a new item to buy. So let's go into our products and services. You will see we have a big red 0 here for inventory. So now's a good time to buy some and stock up. So let's go into our vendors. And now we'll just make 2 purchase orders. Receive items in full. And pay the bills. So this is the easy way. Everybody does their job and we get our stuff. So speaking of which, here's my deluxe fountain pen. We could do it from vendors. I can actually do it from here. It's just not going to give me my preferred vendor. So I can click a check mark here, and up here in action, or batch actions, pardon me, I can reorder. The difference between this and doing through vendors is now I have to choose my vendor here. So no big deal. But you can reorder that way. Now, if we can get that preferred vendor to work, this should pop up automatically when you've linked them together. Okay, so I need some, because I'm completely out, I'll order 22. And I'm going to do save and new. Do 2. And then we'll receive the bills, and then we'll pay the bills. To pay them, I do need to go back to vendors, just in case you use that technique. Here's my 2 purchase orders.
from the same company, but two purchase orders, I can put it on the same bill.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Another technique is, here I've got that one open purchase order. I can click on that, it'll pop up XYZ. I can click on the purchase order just to look at it like, what did I order from them again? And I scroll down. Oh yeah, okay, the puppy leashes. So while I'm here, if I want to receive the bill, you'll see the button up here, copy to bill. It just saves me the step of having to do, the ad and all that. It automatically creates a bill. There it is, and save and close. So it's the same stuff, it's just you're going at it from different directions. And the idea is to save you time from having to go out to this menu. And now I have two open bills. And let's go ahead and make payments. Save and close. And I did what I said you should always do. I didn't even look at my bank account. See, it can become such a habit, but I'm checking now, basic checking, it's good. In the advanced class, we set up more than one, and then you do have to check it. If you don't, it's wrong account. And then you got to fix it. And of course you don't want to make mistakes, but I think it's important to learn how to fix mistakes as it is to not make them in the first place, because mistakes are going to happen. Yes. Yeah. I think we have one more open up there. There's one that's closed. It was having problems with the keyboard too, but the one that's popped open, try that one. And then let me have that one.
When I open it, it goes into
Yeah. Don't you?
Okay.
I think of these as bigger. So. Yeah. Okay, so when you're all done, 0 purchase orders, 0 overdue, 0 open bills, all good. Okay, that was the easy way. Now we try a little hard way. It's not hard, just takes an extra step and a little more thinking behind it. And we're going to short the purchase orders. This time though, don't pay them yet. After we're done, we'll pay them together. So this time we're going to make 3 large purchase orders. Purchase. So then receive half of them, close the remaining purchase orders, but don't pay anything yet. We'll pay it together. So we're going to do 3. Right. Go ahead and make them large so you can split them in half. You can either do like 2 line items, or you could do just 1 item, but 30, and then only receive 15 or something. So I'll do that one first. So there's my 3 purchase orders. And now when I create the bill, I'm going to short it. So I asked for 30, I only got 15. Save and close. So order 222, they sent me 10. Okay, I said don't pay them, but go ahead and close the remainders and don't forget to put canceled by vendor or some kind of notation. So to click on the purchase order. And again, your choice, if you want to put a check mark below or switch open to closed here.
When else this save and close, it says the transactions are linked to others.
Yep, because it is. This purchase order is now linked to the bill, but that's okay. Yeah, it just gives you that warning just in case, because sometimes in the old QuickBooks, if you want to make a backup every day. It's a good idea. If you need to bring it back and restore it and it sees there's already a file on your computer, it makes you type the word yes, click again to make sure you want to do what you want to do, because it'll wipe out what's ever on your computer with the backup. But people get so in such the habit, like I did it before, where you just, okay, fine, click, whatever, done, move on. And like, oh, what did I just do? So they try to break that up for security purposes. So this time I'll use the little check mark down here. Closed. And that's the warning. So it gets a little annoying, but I can understand and appreciate it because I have done it.
You want us to close?
Yeah, go ahead and close the remaining purchase orders that you did not receive. So like I only got 10 out of my 222 and are closed. And then since we're doing the same thing for all of them, if you wanted to, I can select all this text, Control C, copy. The next one I could do, paste, and I'll type out the phrase canceled by vendor. So again, just a shortcut. I'll tell you with that warning though, you see it all the time. Like we just did it 3 times, right? You'll do it again and all of a sudden, wait, why is it saying that? You've seen it over and over again. And then you start doubting yourself. That's okay. Just, cancel it, look at it, see if it's correct. Or the other thing too, so if it throws you off, like, let's do that. I'll change the date.
I need to be doing something else,
And I save and close. So,
because I still have 2 open here.
Okay.
So have you created that?
okay, so here's how you can look at it. Because I got 1, 2 now. always look down here. If you have a number here, that tells you you did do the received. Like in this case, I did receive 10 because this won't be here in the gray. And you'll see I can't change it. I can't change the number now. I can change a lot of other stuff, but I can't change that because that's done by the bill. So if you see that, you're okay. Put a check mark here.
So then I should go to vendors, right?
Vendors and purchase orders.
Yeah, see, this is on the bill. It would show on top of it.
If there's nothing there, yeah. If it says received and it's empty, 0, then you haven't done the bill part yet.
So I create the bill of.
So like here's mine. To receive some of it, I'm going to create bill, and that'll take me to do that. But then I'm going to short it. So you can add it. Say I sent 10, save and close. But that does leave the remaining outstanding. So it's still going to show as an open purchase order. So to me, this little warning is sometimes like how I spell words. Sometimes I'll spell out a word. I'm thinking, that can't be right. Because I started to think about it. If I don't think about it, I would have spelled it, not worried about it. And all of a sudden you see this like, wait a minute. Am I sure? And you start self-doubt. So you can always say no. You can always say, all right, I'll start over. I'm going to cancel. Yes, I'm going to save, leave without saving. Okay, now what was I doing? Okay, I got to close that purchase order. So just go back and do it again. Now I'm thinking, yes, I need to close this one now. And when I save and close, okay, yes, it's okay to save it, modify it. And you could tell it worked if all your purchase orders now are 0, but we have open bills. So you'll see my open bills here. Everybody got that? Got some open bills to pay? So this time, because we haven't done this in a while, let's go up here to the QuickBooks logo on the left side and go to New. And under Vendors, you should see this Pay Bills. So I'm going to pay them all at once. I put a check mark at the top. Now I have an extra one because I was showing you how the how it should have looked. But by clicking the Pay Bills, I can do it all at once. You could do them one at a time. And just save and close. Now here's that little hiccup. Yeah, I just paid him, but it's still telling me they're still open. So this is the one you got to refresh. Yeah, I know. That doesn't. So what's happened is it's a layered window. So what I just did doesn't affect that window directly. I think when they programmed my pay the bills and I click save and close, it should automatically refresh. Got to be easy to put that code in there. But yeah, there you go. By refreshing, then you'll see it. One of the quirky things is, as they started QuickBooks, I could open vendors on the desktop version as a window and a little close box at the top, right? And then I can open customers and I can open items and have 3 windows open, and I can arrange them on the screen all side by side if I wanted to. On this version, they don't. The old version made sense that, well, if I operate with one, since I have this open, of course it's not going to update. So you have to close it and reopen it. That's technically what you're doing when you're hitting refresh, is you're reopening the vendor list. So you see 0 here without panicking. Okay, let's go back to our vendors. I'm going to show all vendors. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got Federal Express that we're paying, but it is not one of our vendors that we normally buy from for products. So it's going to be a service. So I'm going to click on Make Payment for Federal Express, and we're going to clear this out. So it's going to take everything you've learned before with the bills and the payments. And I just have to click Make Payment, save and close. Now my Federal Express is 0, right? Let's look at the next one. Quick Sales Supplies. I want to make a payment. Here's the other thing we can do. QuickBooks does not require us to pay it all off at once. So on this one, I'm going to change the amount I'm paying. Quick Sales and Supplies. You should see it down here is $23.19. See that one? So I want to make a payment. But for whatever reason, I'm going to pay them $10. So in the amount, I change it to $10. You'll see down here, it automatically applies it $10. So this could be a dispute. Like, okay, I'll pay the 10, but I need to see some documentation on the others or whatever. I just clicked on the amount box and typed in 10. Yeah. So now when I go back, you'll see it's down $10. I still owe them $13.19. Whenever we get what caused that problem to be resolved, I can make the payment. So I was talking about how we just kind of skip over things. Whenever we've done a payment, this has always been a possibility of changing. Anything you see in a box where you can click and change the number, sure, you can change it if the circumstance requires it. We've just been accepting it. So this is the one time we didn't. So then we'll save and close. Pay it all, yeah. I mean, you want to pay them $5, then another $5, you could. But we're going to do that with the others anyway. Yeah. And it could be, well, that's not a good one. Huh. These two aren't good ones to use. But I think I mentioned one of my habits is sometimes I invert the last 2 numbers. In this case, it doesn't matter. But could be the first 2 numbers. Instead of 1233, I could type in 2133. Yeah. In the advanced class, we go into that. What happens? Because what it'll do is I'll call them up. Did you notice you paid 2133 instead of 1233? Oh, darn it. Well, I don't want to write another check. Can you just accept that and give me a credit and we'll use it up next time? Sure, no problem. Just want to let you know. I can overpay it and then it will generate a credit, and we'll get into these. And then next time they can apply it. Now, yeah, that's it. Or I think I mentioned the guy who short paid like $10 on a $100 bill every time. You can write it off, or you can, now we can stick a late fee on it, send them another note. Credits like in this case especially, but with customers too, they work, but you'll see it requires the other end of the line to be kind of sharp. Because here's what's going to happen. All right, so they overpaid, say $10 or so. So I have an outstanding credit, let's say -10. Next time we order something, unless I print out the credit and send it along with the bill, they'll probably forget, because that happens all the time. Then they pay the bill normally, and then I call up, hey, did you know you had the credit? Oh yeah, well, okay, next time, right? But just in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, you forget. So that's one of those things that if you want to take the extra step, when you send the documentation, here's our bill, put a credit next to it. I even slip it up so you can see there's some paper behind it, staple it so they can't miss it, send it on, then hopefully they apply the credit. Anyway, we'll get into that. So let's go ahead and make this payment. We'll make half, or I'll just say $6 here. And our customers could do the same thing on their invoices. And you may have okayed that, like a payment installment plan. Or they may be at the end of the month, they're broke, they're going to pay you what they can. Hopefully that'll keep you from complaining or repossessing their stuff. And then here we go. Save and close. I think we have one more. Yeah, spruce spring clean. So we'll pay them half. Close to the bottom. We'll say 50. Oh, wait, I know what to do. Yeah. I was just going to estimate. But just as a reminder, I can always take this number, divide by 2, hit the tab key, and the computer calculate out 6178. Now, is that half? No, because it's an odd number and you can't divide a penny by half. But it's close. Close. Okay, remember, this is where any box that has a number in it, you can put a math operation. So I'm going to click Make Payment. I owe them $123.55. Okay, that's okay. So if I want to pay as close as I can to half, I can have that number and then put slash is divide 2, divide by 2. Hit the tab key. The computer does the math, puts it here, and tells me up here how much I'm paying. So save and close. And now I'll make the payment for the remainder. Now everybody's paid off. And by the way, you can do that with your customers too. They can pay in installments. All right, let's take a look at a check register. I'm going to show you why I don't like doing that. If there's any way to avoid it, it's no biggie. But I look at go to chart of accounts, view register. And I have to see that one bill has 2 payments on it. Just one more thing to track. So, if this is the worst thing that happens to you today, okay, it's not a bad day. But okay, at the very top, you should see your checking account and view register. So there's my basic checking. On the right side, here's view register. Click that. So, back in the days when you actually ran checks, this made more checks and more postage. But if that's what it takes to get the job done, that's what you do. Any questions on that? So you can see today, look at all these checks. Yeah, I'm still ahead of that 10,000 we started, only by $330, but that's profit. Okay, so it is 6:53. It's break time. We'll come back at 7:03. And today is embezzlement day. Catch those embezzlers. You should set her up with a little business on Etsy.
She has a gift shop.
Oh, really? Good for her.
This is actually my sister's stuff.
Did some volunteer work for the Modesto homeless shelter, and they have this wardrobe, especially people looking for a job. They want to have them dressed nice. But I asked them, so what kind of clothes do you need most? And they said, really, honestly, men's clothes. They said, we have lots of women's clothes, and they're all really nice. If we get men's clothes donations, they're usually holes in them. They're worn out because men will wear them till they're no good anymore. Whereas, women sometimes will change wardrobes, so they get rid of the old stuff to clean their closets. Like, what was her name? The organizer person? No, I mean, the one who just got not in trouble, but is it on Netflix? Was that her show? Who? No. Oh, fine. Yeah, I can't think of her name. So as I say it, I will.
Oh,
Marie Kondo.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's in trouble?
not trouble, but did you hear what happened?
No.
So she had a third kid, and she finally had to come out and admit she's not as organized anymore, and she's letting the house go. And so then people are saying, whoa, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So, just backlash. See, my home is messy because she could do it with 2 kids, but that third one came along and it was just too much. But they said when she started her show, like Goodwill and all these places got a lot of donations because people were doing what she says, go through your closet, and if you haven't used it, toss it. So they did get a bunch of clothes.
I do that sometimes. Get rid of all my old stuff, and then later on I regret it.
You miss it?
Because I should have kept that. I could have worn that already.
Well, that's what we do. Oh, I didn't know I had this. And you save it, but then it still gets stuck in the back of the closet. But
you wear it again, and then everybody's like, oh, it's so cute.
oh, I remember when that was in style. Yeah. And you say, well, it's retro. Yeah.
Now everything's coming back, so.
That's it. If you hang on to it.
Yeah. Stuff that I wish it didn't, but.
My sister and I were cleaning out my parents' house, and I'm the sentimental one, and my sister is, nope, gone. You want it? Take it. So,
I don't need it.
yeah. I said, well, I remember this. I remember it too. Take it.
whatever they're throwing away. And everybody's like, you want this? Sure. You want that? But then I make my yard sales.
There you go.
And I sell them and they're like, you what? You got how much? I'm like, yep.
Yeah, but see, you took the time to do it. You organized it. You did the sale. That's worth money too.
Oh, it's a lot of work. Scrub the bag and take it to the Goodwill. That's it. I know. My husband's like, "Oh, you could do it." Yeah, you could do it. I'm not.
Well, that was my dad's policy. He said, don't give me anything for Christmas. I got everything I need. Give me something that's consumable, so I don't have to store it. So a lot of sausages and stuff like that. So I was trying different foods to try. But he knew. One of the things was difficult was the china cabinets, because my parents had, and my grandmother left them these beautiful sets of china, full dinnerware, you know, the whole spread. Who has those parties anymore? I said, sure, you can. Do you really?
No, I want to.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. See, it's gone by the wayside. To them, because, you know, in their time, going out to dinner, you did that once a month, if that. It was very rare. But you could invite friends over and have a dinner party. Nobody does dinner parties. Nobody does those formal. Yeah. Where you're going to use a gravy boat, like, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to wash. So they're great, but as far as utility.
Yeah, my mom has one. She has it on this cabinet. It's like
Mhm.
you can look at it, but you don't touch them. And yeah, she has one. She bought it before I was old. She puts them for decoration.
Yeah.
Nobody's allowed to touch that china. She has it on the little thing. So it's like for display. And I told her, can I have that when you don't want it anymore? Because I think back then I wasn't even born. Like I think she was pregnant with me when she got it. And she said each plate cost her like $50.
Yeah.
It was expensive. She's like, it cost me a lot. And she was like the whole set with a teapot and everything. And it's like, I want that. And she's like, what are you gonna do with it? Same thing you're doing. Display.
My mother-in-law has silver, a whole china cabinet full of real silver. So of course, every couple of years, the kids get together and they have to polish it all.
Oh.
And I said, why are you polishing it? Well, it's gotta look nice. Are you gonna use it? No. But that's what they did. But I did see online, they have this stuff. It's puts like a wax coating on it or something, so it doesn't tarnish anymore. I said, you need to do that. If you're gonna do it, or toss it, because it's a lot of labor. It's a real pain. It stinks doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're not gonna use it, why? But it's a family heirloom.
Now you could just make jewelry out of it and just melt it down.
Sure. Yeah, there we go.
Take it and they'll make you something, or just melt it down as a bar and
Yeah.
just throw it in your safe. Instead of being.
Oh, and not while my mother-in-law's alive, you know.
You wait till she's gone and
Yeah.
divvy it up.
But you never know. This is what it became. Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. Those heirlooms.
I know, but look at what we were just talking about it. What do you do with the heirlooms anymore? So styles have changed so much. Maybe it'll come back in style someday. But see, I agree with you, but my sister, forget it. If she can't use it, doesn't need it, because she's got, you know, I got a lot of stuff too, probably more than I need. But I do like knowing. And my grandmother did put notes on the backs of things, and so I like that, looking at those notes. And I thought, I'll bring it home. But the problem is, when I kick the bucket, my son's going to have to deal with it all. But then he could read the notes. And I figure, well, he can give it away. Well, that's what my wife's, when we were talking about this on Christmas, Thanksgiving, she started bringing things out. And then we had a little tea party with my granddaughters, and that was fun. They loved it. So yeah. Yeah, except it wasn't tea, it was Gatorade. They don't like tea. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, it depends on they are. Like, my nephew comes to the house, I like hide everything.
Destructive.
He's hyperactive, so yeah, he can't be inside. It's like, okay, let's go outside, run, play, get tired. Yeah, because he is, oh my God. He needs an army to get a hold of him. Oh, he tires us all, and he's like, I'm not tired. I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Give him some
Like,
dirt.
Uh,
Let him play in the dirt.
no, oh no.
That's-
He plays with dirt. He likes the guns like Nerfs.
Mhm.
He's 5. Oh my God. He's like with the guns. And he's like, and he goes to be a soldier. So it's like, okay, please, where's the off switch in the kid? My niece is like, yeah, my niece is more calm. But yeah, he is, and he's been like that since he was little. If he wakes up and it's go,
Non-stop.
non-stop all day, and he's like, I need to bed. My brother has to like lay with him. And he's 5, and he's like, yeah, until he knocks out, and if he feels him move, he's like, oh yeah.
Well, our house seems to be a geographical oddity because there's pirate treasure buried all over the yard, and they find these maps. So I go out and bury. I take a box, fill it full of junk, and then I put a Ziploc on it so it doesn't get dirty. And her mom is kind of a neat freak. So then I bury it, and then I have a map that I did in the computer with a little trail. And X marks the spot. So then they have to find it, and that keeps them busy. So then I did, what about dinosaur bones? So I got some of those fake little fossil bones, and they have those, now they're look like little eggs, but you can scratch them open and they have bones in them. So apparently pirates used to come to inland to Atwater and also where the dinosaurs used to be. And then my granddaughter found a golf ball that we'd lost. And she said, look what I found. I said, oh, you know what this means? You have scientifically proven that dinosaurs used to play golf. That's great. Okay. So before we take some stuff away, let's go to our customers. And we'll do a little practice with our invoices. So let's just make 4 invoices. Yeah, you choose. And receive payments checking. Anybody who has a 0 balance, let me correct that. Because we have some of the balances we need to pay off too. I'm going to sell some of my new product.
So 3.
4. Mm-hmm. So I think it's my 4th here. So when you're done, you should see 4 open invoices like this. And we're going to go ahead and receive their payments. And again, always double check. Make sure it goes to the basic checking. So when you're done, you should have 0 open invoices. When you're done with that, now let's make 3 sales receipts and receive those payments directly to checking. Remember, that's the one-shot deal. So I'm going to create sales receipts for 3 different people.
Maybe 3.
3. Mhm.
Do we add the tax to them?
Yes, the tax should come up automatically with there, but if it doesn't, go ahead and do it because it could have been one of those that hasn't been updated.
Put any messages on them?
Unless you want to say thanks, you could. If you want to make sure you did 3, the way to check it is to go to your chart of accounts, look at your general checking register. And you should see 3 sales receipts. Your check register. And there's 1, 2, 3. Now on mine with Mary, I did 2 different items, so of course it's split, but it's still under sales receipt. You mean by check number? Could be the yeah. Yeah. Usually it'll do it chronologically when they were entered. So even though they all have the same date, it remembers which one was done by time. You could try this. You can always resort them. Like here's my first, and click the little triangle next to date again and see if that does it. Because no, I don't know a good reason it would do that. Unless this number got changed. So it's doing it by 10142, 43, 44. I guess that might be possible. Okay, so you're going to go to the wheel at the top here in the chart of accounts. And then it's the top. By the way, the checking is going to be on the top because of the type. It's bank type. So it does it alphabetically by type. And then I can view register. And there's my 3 sales receipts. And just FYI, sales receipts are editable. And you can also delete them if you ever make a mistake. But if you ever had a wrong number or something, you can fix it here. Okay, easy enough. Okay, now let's do 2 more invoices. This time, don't receive the payments. We're going to leave them out standing. So you can pick anybody. Pardon me? Customer chat.
We didn't say sales receipts, right?
Yeah, right. Invoices. Because this won't work with sales receipts. Because in sales receipts, you're receiving the payment. It's all done in one shot. It's only the invoices where you bill them, they pay you, then you receive the payment. So I've got 2 open invoices at the top here, which is fine. We're going to leave those for now. We'll come back to those. But down below, we have some customers who have yet to pay us. And these are the ones we imported. So here's Rob Banks. He owes me $9,000. I'm going to go and receive payment. And again, just like with our vendors, your customers could pay you half. So I'll go to the 9,000, put it divide by 2, 4,500. I could have done that one in my head. But you know, I could, then I have to double check. Did I get that right? Yeah, okay, I got it right. This way, the computer did it. Save and close.
So they're only paying half?
So you'll see, he still has the other half due, and it works the same way. So again, this is, it could be the customer did it on purpose, or you made a deal, and this is how you want to do the payment arrangements, and you're receiving payments in halves or quarters or whatever you want. So like a payment installment. Let's do the other half. And save and close. And again, it does put 2 transactions on that $9,000, but that's okay. See, there's Russell Leeds. Let's do that for him too. So 166.17. Save and close. So now he owes 166.16. So go to receive payment. Now, just FYI, I've been changing the number up here. I can change it down here, but you're telling the computer something different. That the payment's coming in, and like in this case, it would only be $80. So it does echo it up here. If I try to change it up here, you'll see it did not change it here. So by doing it this way, I'm saying the customer overpaid by $10 than this. So it's not going to apply at all. It's going to sit out there floating. So you kind of want to be careful of that. Oops. So I'm going to cancel and do it again.
So you've been doing it on the payment portion, that you shouldn't be doing it on that.
You could do it either side, but just make sure they're this, for our purposes now, they are the same, right? Because it is possible to make these different. And the circumstance would be that there's an amount that you don't want to apply to this invoice for whatever reason. It's kind of a rare circumstance, but it could be that they want to put $10 down on something else, right? You're selling a car, a new car, you're gonna put $10 on a new car. So of the check, right, it won't cover this completely. So the 166.16, he wants $10 to go to the part. Well, he still owes me 166.16, but he's going to pay that remainder later, right? So what you're doing is, instead of connecting the full amount to this invoice, you're detaching $10 and it's going to float there as a credit. See, it's kind of an odd circumstance. But the other reason to tell you this, it is possible when you're in a hurry to get these to be different. And unless you intend that to be the case, they should never be. Almost always, that's the customers, you're getting what the customer owes. On the other hand, it could have just shorted it. Sure. Yeah, and then, but this would, when I do it here, it will change down here automatically.
Yeah, but if they're paying multiple, right?
Yeah, and it'll still show a 6 cents due. And again, that could be an error or something, but you do want these two to match. Okay, so yeah, it's going to pay it off. I don't want to get so complicated right now. But I tell you, life can get complicated. Let's go ahead and receive payment from Teddy Bear. This time, let's do a third. So divided by 3. So 1/3 and 2/3.
Give me the last.
Yeah, when you're here, it had the full amount, just do a /3. So he owes me 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 3 gives me 411.33. Now, again, we're doing this for class. In the real world, if they're paying by check, whatever they wrote on the check, I know they don't say, here's a check, fill it out by 1/3, right? That never happens. It'd be nuts because somebody will mess up your checking account, put you in debt. Okay, so now I've got this, and I'll receive the payment. And save, close. So we got one more tomfoolery. Right, yeah, sure. I was gonna do half, but the third works. That's kind of fun. No, that's okay. You could do about a third, a quarter. You could do a fifth. You want to? Sure. Doesn't matter. We're just trying to break them up. So a fifth of 1,209 is 241.80. Yeah. So that's all he's paying. Maybe he's got to pay his gambling debts. I have a gambling problem I'm never going to get out of. My granddaughter, my little granddaughter is wearing a hand-me-down from my bigger granddaughter. And I said, well, it probably doesn't fit anymore. And my bigger granddaughter said, yeah, it does. I just don't wear it. I said, no, that doesn't fit you. She said, you want to bet? I said, okay. So she starts putting it on. She says, how much? I said, $1 billion. Okay. And it fits. Now I owe her $1 billion. I'll tell her, can't pay you $1 billion, but I had a nice China set. You want the China set? So 967.20, and that brings the balance to 0. All right. So all the people who came from the importing process have been paid off, but we still have those 2 open invoices. Now, once again, we've been paying them individually, but we do have the option of coming up here to that green QuickBooks logo and going to New. And under Customers, you'll see there's Receive Payment. So you'll see the drawback of doing it this way is you don't have the customer name. So you have to remember who you got money from or who owes you money. Usually though, this would be on the check. However, there's another thing you do. When you don't know the customer, if you can remember the invoice, you can find by invoice number. So remember I said we're connecting all these things together. The only question is, I don't remember the invoice number here. Again, that's why you'd have paperwork, right? So I'm going to cheat. 1045. So I go up here to New. Receive payment. Find by invoice number. And here it comes. Okay, so you can always do that, and her name, Sarah Smith. Mine was 1045. Yours might be different because of the numbering system, but the way to find out, you can start guessing. Like I said, this for the classroom use, this doesn't really work, but from the real world, you know, you've got, like in my case, that was Sarah Smith. She could have 2 or 3 invoices, right? She didn't say on the check which one she wants to pay, and let's say they're all the exact same amount, and she's paying one of them. So I can look by the number, if I know the invoice number, if she's attached the invoice, and find it out too. You can also find the invoice number by going into to Get Paid and Pay and Customers. So I have the one open invoice. Just click on that. It'll bring up, in this case, my Walgreens. And there's the invoice number. But that's why that invoice number is so important, is because that's essentially how it identifies that document. Yeah. But again, you know, if that doesn't suit your needs, by all means, you can just do receive payment here like we've been doing.
Zero balance, but my invoice,
And there we go. So they're all paid off. So again, it's one of those things, however you get there, you get the same result. Whatever works to make your life easier. We've been doing it this way. Our list is getting longer. You know, you could have a list of 10,000 names. The other way to do this too, so if I wanted to see Sarah, I can do a search here. And you'll see it pops up, Sarah Smith. Click on it and it shows me just Sarah's information here. So you can always do a search that way too, if your list starts getting out of hand. Any questions on that? All right, let's go into inventory management. So on the left-hand side here, I'm going to click on products and services. And here's where we get into people who can use their powers of bookkeeping to embezzle when they're really just supposed to be keeping track of inventory. So I'm going to start with my deluxe teddy bear. I currently have 22 on hand. You can see at the top here. Where it says edit, there's a little triangle. Here it comes, adjust quantity. So as I mentioned before, you can have an inventory where people go out and they count everything and they come back and the number doesn't match what's in the computer. So you're saying, all right, I believe this new number is correct. So we're going to create a record here to make it correct. So right now it shows quantity on hand is 22. And then you'll see there's new quantity, 22, or change in quantity. So there's two ways you can work with this. So in this case, it's a teddy bear. Let's say it got left outside, it got rained on, now it's all moldy, nobody wants it. It's my fault, so I'm not going to send it back to the manufacturer. I'm just going to eat it. I want to throw it away. So I can say in here, quantity minus 1. I hit the tab key.
Where's the minus?
I type in the word, or the word. Type in the little minus. It's right next to the 0.
See, it says the start.
With the minus and then
Oh.
minus.
Oh, that.
It's both, it's minus the quantity.
Minus 1.
Minus.
Because when you're going to destroy it, it's probably just 1 or 2. Okay. You'll notice at the top, we've got the date, and then it's got an account. It's going to track the value of the loss, inventory shrinkage. So that way the computer will know where it came from. All right. So when I'm using this screen, I would always leave a memo. Something like this, damaged in the rain. If the boss told me, hey, we got a problem with teddy bear, we're gonna throw one away, go ahead and mark it down 1, remove 1. I'd say per supervisor or per Dan or whatever, a note as to why you're doing this. Because here's that embezzling part. Why are you down 1? Oh, because I put it in the back of my car, but I'm not gonna write that, right? So what'll happen is the computer's gonna keep track of this inventory. And if all of a sudden a lot of inventory seems to be disappearing and this inventory shrinkage gets bigger and bigger number, people are gonna start asking questions. And this is how you can catch somebody who might be embezzling. They might claim that, a new TV set is damaged, but then for the 3rd time, well, it's a lot of damage going on. It's time for an investigation. So that's why if you're going to enter this, make sure you put in why you're doing this. Who told you to? If you're doing inventory, it's fine, but just a little notation here in case somebody else is looking at this, they won't blame you because you have complete control over this inventory. So I will just save and close. Okay, when I type it in here, I type -1, and then I have to hit the tab key to move off of it, and twice to go to the next line. Or if you click on memo, that'll work too, because it's waiting for you to accept it, because I could be putting -11, right? So I'll save and close. And now my teddy bear's quantity on hand is 21. On that item, I'm going to click the drop down arrow again. I'm going to run the report. And as I scroll down, you will see, here it is. It does show up. It's recorded there. Yeah, you can always see the run the report. Go back. Whenever you're looking at the item, got the little triangle on the right side. Yeah. So when it runs the report, it's going to run the report on the line that's active. So that's the teddy bear. And I'll just click run report. And this includes all the stuff, all the times we ordered them, the invoices, sales receipts, as we sold them, but also the inventory adjustment. There. So there is a record of it. So even if somebody's trying to embezzle, it's if you're going to record it, it's going to be there. So there's another way to do that. I'm going to click the back button. I'm going to pick a different item this time, a desktop fan. And I want to adjust the quantity. So the other way you can do this is instead of doing the change in quantity, you can just put the new quantity. So that would be, say you did an inventory, the numbers came back, and instead of 32, I only have 30. So instead of new quantity of 32, I'm going to say, no, we counted them, there's only 30. I hit the tab key, you see it fills in the -2. So whichever one you do here or here, the computer fills in the other one. Because 32 minus 2 is 30. Right? So once again, got to put a memo, and I'll say inventory count. So we sent people out, did a count, came back, said it's 30. Ideally, the person counting doesn't know the original number, because sometimes that can influence them. So they're supposed to be independent, and then you believe them. So if you're pretty sure of your inventory, you can have somebody else go out and double check before you change this. Because once it's changed, it's going to be tabulated and the computer won't expect them anymore. So again, if somebody is taking stuff, that could be why it's missing. And again, if you want to see it, I go to my desktop fan line, hit that little triangle, and run report. And as you scroll down, here's the inventory adjust. If it's ever you did a mistake, I can click on the inventory quantity adjust. So for inventory quantity adjust, it brings that screen back up, and I can fix a mistake if I've got it wrong. So instead of change the quantity -2, maybe it was -1 or whatever, right? So you can always change it. I'm just going to go back because that was correct. So I don't know if you know this, most loss, inventory loss for businesses is by employee theft, not by shoplifting. And sometimes it's as simple as somebody has a supply cabinet. Oh, there's some extra Post-its. I'll grab up some Post-its. Okay, well, it is theft. And some places do look down upon that and will fire you for it. But little things like that. Yeah. On the other hand, some people do take advantage. And when I worked at Tri-Valley Growers, sometimes I'd work the night shift. And the night shift supervisor had a lot of time on his hands. Anyway, so they gave him the job of reordering the warehouse supplies. So he reordered toilet paper. Well, then within a week, they said, we need some more toilet paper. What? No. So he did it. And then again, within a week, need some more toilet paper. Okay. Now he was on the case because he was sure that it had changed. So he pulled up all his records, and sure enough, he was ordering toilet paper like once every 2 months. But now all of a sudden it's like every week. So he said, okay. He ordered the toilet paper. Remember I told you I had a lot of time on his hands? He sat out in the supply cupboard, lights off, waited, and sure enough, caught an employee stealing toilet paper. He was so proud. It was like, you know, a TV series when the detective catches the criminal. because he figured it out. He figured out there was loss and then found them. And of course, they fired the employee. Why it's still of all things toilet paper. There are a lot of things in that warehouse you could take it. I'm sure toilet paper. Yeah, yeah. We actually, after the COVID, yeah, he probably did pretty well. He had all that toilet paper stacked up. And then, well, the other thing, okay, a roll, but he was stealing cases.
Oh, well, Amazon resale.
It could be. Yeah, he's done the black market toilet paper. But you know, who knows?
I'll have you know that my husband was paid, he did a service call, and the gentleman didn't have money. He lived in a 55 and over. And so anyway, he said that he didn't have money, but he had a large supply of toilet paper. So he paid him in toilet paper.
Barter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Hey, that may have been the same guy. You found him. And he doesn't have a job now, right? So, I mean, that's what will happen is you can track this stuff. You like in this case, it wasn't the computer alerting him. He just had the impression like, I've been doing a lot of this ordering. Something's up, and figured it out. Okay, let's go to the third item. Let's do it again, because here's the stranger of the different possibilities. And adjust quantity. So you can also do more than one item, more than one product. So in this case, let's say that the change in quantity, lost 3, so -3. Or I can do in my head 90 and type it in there. So this is going to be an inventory. So I'll say inventory count. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. If I wanted to, just click on here, new quantity, and then it won't do it now, but when we exit out, if you're saving this, it'll update the quantity on hand to be 90 or whatever your number is. What's your quantity on hand now?
Right now it's -2.
Oh, okay. I think you did the other one on a 0. That's okay.
So do 90.
No, do -3 here. So
Well, hit the -3,
okay.
but then quantity can do 90.
Well, it's here you can. In the real world, what's happening is whatever it is, you're saying, I found 90, and you kind of jump my gun, because that's exactly what we're going to do next. The weird thing is, I'm going to pick another item under here. So I would just do like -3. Yeah. So you'll be down -5, and then when you order them, you can reorder them. It is possible for your inventory to go into the minus. I think I mentioned this before. You can have somebody like who does a special order, right? And so it can go down like -1 or however many they ordered if you had 0 in hand. But under dog leash, I'm going to pick another item. So this is where it gets weird. Change in quantity, I'll type in 4. How in the world did we go from 35 to 39? How do we get stuff? You know, are they having little baby fidget spinners out there?
Just switch like a product on the wrong place.
Could be. One of the common things is whoever received the inventory didn't count it right like they were supposed to, and there was more in there than what they expected. Yep. So there's lots of reasons. It's not impossible, but it is rare. Because most people don't reverse shoplift. They don't bring stuff into the warehouse or store. But, you know, for whatever reason, usually it's because somebody miscounted something. Or from a previous inventory, let's say these little fidget spinners, so they're only like this big, right? So say I had a box of them and it got moved from that shelf to like the clothes area. Somebody just moved it for whatever reason. So when we did the inventory count, it wasn't counted. So that's maybe 3 months ago. So now we're doing another one, and then somebody found it, brought it back. And so I'm re-increasing it. But if it's accurate, then that's accurate. It's possible. It'll still count against the inventory shrinkage, even though it's not shrinkage, it's expanding. If this becomes a significant issue for a company, sometimes they'll create a new account here to account for increases. But like I said, it's pretty rare. So we'll just leave it as is and save and close. So there's my new updates. So if you had a negative here, you can, let me real quick on mine. I'm gonna take my teddy bears and I'm gonna say, so I did have a -2 here. Okay, so you see I have a -2. If that's inaccurate, I can change it just by going to the adjust quantity again. If, however, that is accurate, meaning I've got 2 that I special ordered waiting for them to come in, I haven't received them yet, so this is -2, it should stay -2 until they come in, then I wouldn't want to touch it. But in this case, I'm going to say, no, that was just a mistake, so I'll bring it back up to 21. So you can do that. And then again, put a note here, say it was the inventory count. Or you can even say recount. So you had somebody else come out and do it. And then maybe their initials or something like that. Just so you know why, because this is kind of strange. You know, why did it happen? I have no idea, but it happened. So I'm going to make a note here as much as I can to tell my future self why this happened. And then sometimes, you know, you're not selling it, but you're removing it. When I worked for the County Office of Education, our office was right next to the big dumpster. And it was funny because at the end of the fiscal year, which in their case was like May, June, you'd see a strange phenomenon. The custodians would come out with these big trucks and it'd be packed full of stuff like a beanbag chair that had like a little duct tape on it or something, or a chair that was bent a little bit. And you'd see them put them in the dumpster. And they'd step back and then they walk back up and take it out of the dumpster and put it on their trolley, go to their car and put it in their car. Here's what was happening. It was the end of the fiscal year. The deal was for supervisors, use it or lose it. If you don't use up all your budget by the end of that fiscal year, you're not going to get it again next year. It's going to be gone. And then you're going to have to argue for the money if you want it again. So what they would do is go on a spending spree. They'd get rid of all their old stuff, you know, stuff that was still usable, but not as brand new, to buy brand new stuff just so they didn't have to argue the budget out. And then they got brand new stuff. But the rule was no custodian, no employee could take any items out of the classrooms or offices. But anything in the dumpster was fair game. So that's why they're pushing it out, putting it in the dumpster, then taking it out and then putting it in their car, because that made it legal and everybody's happy. But it was funny to watch. It's crazy. But that's one where they would adjust the inventory down. You know, it's a loss. You're throwing it away. So like in my case, you know, maybe some of these fountain pens, right? We're going to toss them because we're going to get brand new ones later on. So you might mark them down to 0 and they're just a loss. Yeah, but if they discontinue, well, in my case, I would try to sell them out. And then you have a closeout sale. Discontinue item sale, special 50% off or whatever. I'm still going to make money, just not as much. And then get rid of those. And then I can mark this item inactive and start with my new one, my replacement. But, you know, if you just want to, so like, how many do I have? Fountain pens. Yeah, okay, I got 81. So what I might do is, rather than hassle with all that, I'll just mark it. Okay, got 81. I'll give them away for free. Buy $10 of items, get a free fountain pen, right? So I'm not going to receive income for them. And then as I get rid of them, mark them down here. And then I put in the memo, freebie to customers, something like that. So that's possible too. This only, yeah, yeah. Under inventory adjustment, let's take a look at that. Glad you mentioned it. Let's go to our chart of accounts. So I'm going to type in the word inventory, and here's inventory shrinkage. So I did inventory in my search box. Or you could scroll down. It's under cost of goods sold. So you don't have to scroll down that far. But we're looking for inventory shrinkage and then run report. And there it is. And this may be where you find some of the stuff's been going out for no good reason. Somebody's been taking them. And to cover themselves, they're adjusting the inventory so nobody will question it.
So that's how you had like $33.
Yeah, no, it's a gain, because remember, I played with the increase.
Oh, yeah, yes.
So since we haven't one account, normally this is negative, but you'll see here I have some increases, and my increases outweighed my losses.
Because mine says 615.
Yeah.
So
It's because when we added products, it's basically like, as far as the computer's concerned, poof, out of thin air. So whether they're fountain pens or teddy bears, poof, they just appeared, because you're not explaining it by the accounts. So we're doing it on the inventory adjust. And like I said, if that's going to be a common occurrence, and it could be depending on the type of business, then you probably have a separate account for the gains, right? It could be an inventory adjust, but it'll be the positives. And you could say, additional inventory found or things like that. So, and let's say at least 9 times out of 10, it's the other way around. Stuff disappears or gets destroyed or is lost.
That's because you added something to the more stolen, more expensive.
Oh, yeah,
than
my
the
stuff
one-
is
yes, than the one.
See mine here? So you can see the negatives, and then you can see the positives. So yeah, hopefully it never happens that you have to deal with this, but on occasion it does. And if you do inventories, and like I said, it doesn't have to be that it was stolen. Everybody thinks, oh, okay, it was shoplifted. No, it could have been that it was misplaced, and by an employer or customer. And as much as you think, well, dirty customers, I've done it too. Sometimes, so like when I go to the grocery store, I don't like to get a shopping cart. My rule is, if I can't fit it all in my hands or in a bag, maybe I shouldn't be buying, right? Because I'm usually trying to get in and out. So I have noticed that sometimes I need to reorganize things, and I take something, so like a spaghetti sauce, and I put it on the shelf. Well, the shelf happens to be pickles. So then I reorganize and I forget it. And then I thought, oh man, now somebody's going to go there and they're going to think, why did that customer put spaghetti sauce in pickles? That makes no sense. Why would somebody do that? And so I felt guilty about that. And then we didn't have spaghetti sauce. So, but stuff like that does happen. And when my son worked for a grocery store, he said they find any refrigerated items in the pantry items, they have to throw it away,
Yeah.
even if it feels cold, because they have no idea how long it's been sitting there, and it could be a food issue. So that's sad too. But then there you go. You got to account for the bacon that got left out in the racks. So even if it was, he said, even if it was in another section of the store that was storage and cold, or even in the freezer, because you just don't know. But this is how you fix it. You fix your inventory. And as I mentioned, inventories are notoriously off, but it's kind of your best guess. Now, it's possible if you have a higher priced items, you can put, they're called RFID tags. It's radio frequency identifiers. And then you got a little scanner and just push the button and they all talk back. We're here, and immediately it'll count. And that was a big wave for a while. It kind of trickled out. Now it's just more expensive stuff. But those RFID tags got so cheap, they could put them on anything. And then that was a way to track the inventory. And the idea was supposed to be also when customers pick stuff off the shelves and they walk out, they can walk through a scanner and it'll immediately ring them up, because it can do all the math, knows what they got, bring them up, here you pay for it. But that hasn't happened yet either. So we'll see. So I'm going to go back to my get paid and pay. Look at my products and services, and they've all been updated. Any questions on how to do that? If you're a big enough company, there is a person who can do this all day long, because you're constantly doing inventory updates for whatever reason. So, it's basically inventory management. And as I mentioned earlier, this can be critical to a company, especially if you're a manufacturer, because you have to have a certain number of parts to make a new product. And if you ever run out because somebody miscounted or whatever, then it could be really bad. At Tri-Valley, Nobody, I told you we did labels. So these labels came in stacks, and the stacks were in boxes, and the boxes were in pallets. And instead of counting all the labels, they had to weigh them. And they calculated out the weight, like 10 labels weigh this much. So therefore, the whole package should weigh this much. Nobody liked doing it. So if they skimped on something, that was it. And sure enough, the inventory would be off. Customer calls, hey, I need 10,000 tomato pastes. Sorry, we don't have your labels. We'll have to get them. We can run as many as we can, but we can't do the last 1,000 or something. And then everybody used to get a lecture about how it's important to do that count when they come in, because garbage in, garbage out. The computer had an accurate or inaccurate count because it assumed you had done a count and the amount they claimed they sent was accurate, and it turned out to be short. So, all right. Well, that's it for the day then. And tomorrow is our last day. So we'll pay our sales tax and do a couple other things. And I'm meaning to get to it. We'll also use what's called undeposited funds.
Sales tax is what we pay.
Yep, the state. Yeah, we collect it on behalf. So you're now a tax collector. If you never thought you would be, now you are. You are on behalf of the state of California. You too. We'll see you tomorrow. You're welcome. So you can see that's our inventory adjustment. You're welcome. You're welcome.